seen all the current shows.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I just figured it. Yeah.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Awesome new show this week. All kind of stuff going on right now. And I'll tell you, we've had the market has been hot in terms of new properties going to contract. We mentioned last week's show, it was like 190 million under contract last 7 days. We're still on track with that. And I was talking to a buddy from New Jersey, and he was saying the same thing. It's super busy up there in terms of new properties going under contract, like almost like 2021, 2022 numbers. And obviously we're seeing some of the fallout of them moving here. And that's in the face of high rates still too. So we'll talk about that. Lots of great stuff. Some big news this past week with the CPI. Inflation came back higher than expected. So you're going to see rates jump back up. Be very, very interesting to kind of see what happens as everybody was getting super hopeful for them getting back into the sixes. But we'll talk about that, how to navigate that. It hasn't really impacted the market here in terms of new pending deals. So we'll talk about that for anyone that missed last week's show. And I have the brand new numbers this week, real live as of this moment. We'll go through that as well. We'll talk about the three biggest mistakes that home sellers are making right now. This came from a national article that is so true. When I was reading it, man, we see this every day. And it just talks about part of it. 58% of agents say sellers have the most trouble out of anything setting the right price for their house in today's market. And so in many cases, it's underpriced. It's like either or. Some underprice it drastically, and then a lot of people, always overprice it, thinking that there's two types of people. And the reality is you want somebody who understands the data, who can use the data, because you got to sell it to two people, both the buyer and also the bank if it's getting an appraisal. And so that's why data matters in that scenario. Also, we're growing. Our team's absolutely crushing it. Looking back on numbers, we grew our spending last year in terms of marketing. We spent right at $1 million last year in marketing. And so we need more people to join our team to help continue the growth and continue to deliver at the highest level. And so if you're thinking about getting real estate, reach out to me. We have our own real estate school. We have a scholarship for people that I'll pay for you to go to school and train you, do all the stuff that you need to be successful in real estate. And so definitely reach out to me about that. Also, some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it the first of this year. And like I said, we'll talk about what's happening in terms of new properties going under contract, and we'll review the last month's numbers for everyone as well. So just lots of great stuff we'll talk about. If you ever want to come back and watch this episode, we stream it online. Go to YouTube. Just go to Blake Sloan Radio Show. Search it in YouTube. You can follow me on Facebook. Search Blake Sloan. You can follow Sloan Realty Group. We stream it everywhere. LinkedIn. Also, you go to your favorite podcast portal like Spotify, Apple Music, all that, and search for Blake Sloan Radio Show and come back and listen to those anytime. So,
for any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Absolutely, Rick. And that's just the whole reason why I do this show. I was talking about this yesterday with someone in our office. I was actually interviewing an agent, and we were just talking about the why behind do what I do. And he's talking about the show. And he actually used to work for my grandfather a long time ago at my grandfather's company. And this was like 2000 maybe. And I used to come there as a kid after school. We were just talking about things, and I just growing the business. And I've just seen so many horror stories every single day. And it comes down to the number one mistake that any consumer makes. And it's over and over and over and over and over. The number one mistake that consumers make is thinking that all real estate agents are the same. And as I think about it and break it down, you notice it happens the same thing with lawyers, right? People just all the time will be on Facebook, like, who's a lawyer I should pick for this? And they don't really know how to pick them. And that's the same thing we see as agents, because what you don't realize it's a service-based business. And so the outcome of your situation, whether it be selling your house or buying your house, comes down to really how well does that agent execute. And so the problem is most consumers just think they're all agents the same. They need a realtor, and you'd be surprised, like anybody can get a license. They can take a 2-week online course and pass the test, and they're a realtor, right? And so you're dealing with your largest asset. And so most people don't realize when you're selling a property, it's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, it puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. And that can be like 30, 40, 50, $60,000 in one transaction. And so if anything's handled incorrectly, they drop the ball, and trust me, it happens every single time. And most of those are things like pricing the property correctly. Does the agent take quality photos? What's the order of the photos online? Does the agent actually answer when somebody calls the for sale sign? Do they even have a for sale sign out there? How long does it take them to respond to a web lead? What's the negotiation strategy? How much they give away in negotiation? All these things have to happen the right way in the right order. And what you find is most agents are out there just winging it, because the average agent marketplace sells 4 homes per year. It's less than 4 homes per year. It's like 3.6, but this, let's say 4, 1 home per quarter is not a whole lot of experience, not a whole lot of money to eat with and put food on the table for their children, much less fight hard for your hard-earned equity. And so what they end up doing in many cases is throwing their client under the bus in 2 seconds, just get the deal done. How do I know that? I see it every day. We're on the opposite side of the transaction, obviously, and they'll say, hey, just bring me this, and they'll take it, right? There's all kind of stuff that happens that the consumer has no clue that costs them their hard-earned equity. And so most agents, all they do is the 3 Ps. They promise you world to get the listing. I mean, they tell you they're number 1, they're the best, or, whatever it is they say. Number 2, they put it into the MLS, the multiple listing service. And 3, they sit back and pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street trying to get the next listing, and you're there hoping and praying your property gets sold. In our MLS, about 48% of properties actually get sold in the last year. And so what that means is a 50-50 chance of even getting it sold. Of the ones that do get sold, statistically in the MLS, is around 100, 113 days, depending if it's condo, house, what type it is in that case. And so you want to understand, like, the agent you choose matters more than anything else. And just like doctor, lawyer, right, say this all the time, but it's so true, I got to bring it up, is like if you're sued by somebody tried to take all the things that you own and put a judgment against you for the rest of your life, or let's say you're charged with a crime you didn't commit, the last thing I want is some part-time attorney who tried 4 cases last year. I want the absolute best attorney, who's the most aggressive attorney, who's going to work super hard and has the experience in the courtroom, in the process, to give me a competitive advantage. And so you should demand that same level of excellence when you're dealing with your largest asset. But for some reason, people don't do that. They just call around and find the cheapest, right? Or they ask their friend's uncle who just got his license, is working part-time, but also bartending at night, right? You don't want that person dealing with your largest asset. You want the absolute best. And here's the deal. I bartended when I got into real estate. Guess what? When I got into real estate, I was bartending at night. I was probably not the best. I was learning, but I was, you got to think about, you want some quality. The person now who's done 7,000 transactions at $1.5 billion in real estate is a hell of a lot better than the kid who was bartending at night. And that was me, right? So you want to understand, like, their experience matters. And I've learned that over the years. And so what I did was, there's got to be a better way. I designed this thing called a guaranteed sold system. It's a proven, repeatable system that creates maximum leverage for our client at every single point of the sale. So I mentioned there's 118 variables. It creates a small gap at point 1. It creates a small gap at point 2, small gap at point 3. And you stack all those small little gaps up. What it does is it creates a massive gap between us and the competition, aka the other sellers in your street. And it helps the property sell faster and for more money. That thing I designed is called the guaranteed sold system. The only proven system to sell them twice as fast and for over 20% more money than the traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. And again, it's just like, like I said, if you have a marathon, everybody starts at the same time, right? Every shotgun start, everybody starts running. And what you realize at the end, some people finish 2 and 3 hours ahead of everyone else. And that's the same exact thing that we do with the marathon of your home sale with our guaranteed sold system. We back that guaranteed sold system up with 2 main things. Number 1, a large team of people, about 30 people. We have buyer specialists, listing specialists, inside sales, outside sales, a listing coordinator, 2 closing coordinators, in-house photography, videographer, all that stuff, in-house graphic design. So we can make sure that we can execute at the highest level in a quick process to get our clients the result they want, while the same other agent, right, they sign the listing on Monday, they don't even take pictures till Friday, and then it takes another 5 days for them to even put it to MLS. Why? Because they're so busy trying to juggle all the balls. And if you look at the old school business model, how most agents operate, you have one agent juggling all the balls, working on buyers, sellers, doing their marketing, doing their administration, doing their contract to close. And it's like having the same person, McDonald's, do the front register, the drive-thru, and the French fries at the same time. It's very, very inefficient, which is why there's a 48% failure rate. and most people are unhappy with their home sale. And so that's what you really listen. Hope you take away from today's show. It's the only reason I do this show, to hope people actually can really break away from that old school thought process. And here's the deal. Same problem on buyer side. It's very difficult for buyers out there. The agent you choose matters more than anything else. It's a negotiation process, find the properties, financing, all these things that matter. And so I designed this thing called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Get you priority access to foreclosures, distress deals, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection to get you to that closing table successfully with the most amount of money in your pocket. And so you owe it to yourself, at least check it out. If you're listening to the show, you have a friend or relative, aunt, uncle, whoever it is that may or may not buy real estate or sell real estate this year, say, look, you got to call my buddy Blake and check this out. So save me your phone, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime. A quick break, right back in a second.
There are issues that directly impact your family's future. Hey, your friend Sean Hannity here, and the same is true for your real estate transactions. Now, when you sell your home, you need to speak to one of the agents right here in town that will get you the most money with the least hassle. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, knowing the facts when you vote and when you sell your home is always important. That's why you should check out the value of your home in today's market. When you know the accurate value, you are better equipped to make an informed decision with all the options laid out for you. Options like an instant offer, or lay out your timeline and take advantage of their guaranteed sale program, or just put it on the market and get more money than you expected. Just go to the website, find out your home's value in seconds. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at BlakeSloan.com. That's BlakeSloan.com. And get your home's real value in today's market.
I'm going to do that over.
Okay.
Hey, with every election, there are issues that directly impact your family's future. Hey, your friend Sean Hannity here, and the same is true for your real estate transactions. Now, when you sell your home, you need to speak to one of the agents right here in town that will get you the most money with the least hassle. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, knowing the facts when you vote and when you sell your home is always important. That's why you should check out the value of your home in today's market. When you know the accurate value, you are better equipped to make an informed decision with all the options laid out for you. Options like an instant offer, or lay out your timeline and take advantage of their guaranteed sale program, or just put it on the market and get more money than you expected. Just go to the website, find out your home's value in seconds. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at BlakeSloan.com. That's BlakeSloan.com. And get your home's real value in today's market in just seconds, and then you can start packing.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbin. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers that time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, pay cash for your home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time?
Use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
Work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update, all kind of stuff going on we'll talk about. And I'll tell you, it's been super busy the first month and a half of the year so far. Obviously, we're just finishing halfway through February. And so a lot of great stuff going on. Typically, in this time of year, you'll see 200, 300 properties under contract in any 7-day period. And so that's pretty good, right? Because January, February is a little bit slow. Everybody kind of waits for this ramp up into the spring market, they call it. But the last couple of years, we've been purely an interest rate driven marketplace. And so as rates bump around, as things happen politically, right, you'll see more people jump in who are on hold. And what happened last year, rates bumped up super high. We have the election, the 2 or 3 months leading up to election, everyone's kind of like on the sideline waiting to see what happened. We call lead after lead. They say, oh, just waiting after the election. And what happened was after the election, a lot of people jumped back in the marketplace. December, really November, December was really super hot in terms of new deals going to contract. And then now you're seeing the same exact thing this spring. And it's really been happening across the country. I have a great mastermind group of top agents across the country. I mentioned last week's show, my good friend in Denver, Colorado. So it's the busiest he's experienced in 12 years. Last night, a friend of mine in New Jersey said the same exact thing. It's busy. They've seen it since 2021. when it's like the COVID times. And so we're seeing that same thing right now. This is new properties under contract. We talk about this. This is like the front windshield numbers. They haven't closed yet, but it's a way to keep pulse of what's happening in real time. It's the most important number I track in my office every single day. Every morning we go over it in our huddle because it allows us to advise clients based on the real-time pulse, not data that closed from something under contract 3 months ago, right? And so like right now, properties under contract the last 7 days, 481 properties for $182 million. That's rock and roll. And anything near 200 million is summertime numbers. And so 200 million plus is what you see June, July, and August. And that's huge for February. So 481 properties for 182 million. Last week's show was very close there. It was right at 190 million with 491 properties under contract. So it was 10 property difference, which is not a whole lot overall. And I think the weather was just a little better last week. But look at the big numbers. One property at $4 million in Forest Brook, actually some land. Two properties over $2 million. 11 properties over $1 million. 97 properties over 500,000 that went under contract. So big money coming in Myrtle Beach from all over. And I was talking about this last couple of weeks with my stepdad, who's a commercial agent. Big shout out to John. But we were talking at lunch on Sunday. Man, there's just lots of big money coming in from out of the area that you're just not used to seeing over the years. But it's great for the economy here. It's great for the businesses here. It's great for real estate. We're also seeing inventory increase a little bit too. Right now, there's 1,422 properties that are active that are in Horry County, single family resales. If you go back to last summer, I got some numbers I just saved from last summer around June, July. It was 566 properties for 218 million. But the difference was there's only 1,150 properties for sale. And so almost, 300 more properties for sale now. And we're getting similar numbers in February, which is crazy. And so what does that mean? We're seeing an earlier than usual spring market just because of both the political landscape. A lot of people were on hold waiting to see what happened up until November. And then you're also seeing, and they're kind of paralyzed after that, I call it, through the holidays. And so what's happened is people jump back in January because they feel guilty for not doing anything over the holidays, and they're actually trying to get stuff done. And so that's just something you're seeing. A combination of those two things lead to a huge jump for first quarter so far, which is great. Looking at the closed sales, we talked about last show, just a quick recap. Closed sales last month for resale homes was up 3.8%, which is great. Remember, if it closed last month, it went under contract 30 to 60 days prior to that. And so you want to keep that in mind. Those properties went under contract really around November, December, and finally close in January. And so that's just something we'll keep watching. Next week's show, we'll go over the micro market around each zip code. Average sale price was down a little bit, down 1.4% last month. And it's just been bouncing around the last few months. Like, for example, in November, it was $491, December, $510, and then January back to $498. So that's just something you're kind of seeing overall. Median price right now is up 2.1%, which is awesome, at $393,000. It was down last month in December at $380. Right now it's $393. November, it was $395. So same exact thing. It's just like an opposite triangle there, but that's where you're seeing supply. Very, very similar. Right now it's 4.3 months. It's down from where it was a couple months ago. November is 4.6 months of inventory, and it's gone down since then. It's still a seller's market. Anything less than 6 months inventory is a seller's market, meaning you have the advantage. It's not the case for condos, as condos have gone above that overall. One of the big things that's shocking for a lot of homeowners, looking at average days on market right now for a resale home on the market is up 9.5% from the same time last year to 115 days on market. And so that's something we'll keep watching there as well. The one thing really, though, if you want to know why hasn't my house been selling, why hasn't it sold, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier. The agent that you choose makes the difference. And so here's the data that's the most important data. This is why you don't list with your friend who just sold 3 homes last year. This is why you don't list with the cheapest agent that you call around and found the cheapest agent. This is the number one secret that anyone really needs to know, and it's the most important data. So here's the deal. If you look at the entire MLS, every real estate company, every agent, everything, the average showings per listing in the entire listing process, so usually 6-month agreements. In some cases, some less, some more, but around 6 months. The average listing got 3.5 showings total, and that's down 20.5% from the same time last year. The problem is, like I mentioned before, is the amount of showings it takes to get a contract. They call that showings to pending, is 13.2. So you can see the problem there. It needs 4 times the amount of showings than the average listing gets before they get a contract. And so what's happening is they're getting listed, they're sitting. 48% of the time they're not selling, because why is that? Well, they don't get enough eyeballs on it to look at it, to want to buy it. And so why is that? Well, there's just X amount of buyers out there. There's Y amount of inventory. Inventory is larger, so it's more spread out. And so what helps you have success is you have to literally bring buyers to it. You have to differentiate the property. You have to make it look better. You have to have people who make phone calls on your behalf to share that with the buyers, because there's just so much out there to look at. Sometimes it does become overwhelming. And even historically, it's not a huge amount of houses, but it is a lot more than there has been right now, 1,400 just in Horry County. So again, the average listing right now in the entire MLS gets 3.5 showings. The amount of showings it takes to get a contract, 13.2. So if I'm looking to get success as a home seller, I care about one thing. How do I get an agent who can help me get 13.2 showings, but without dropping my price super low? And that's the difference in the dichotomy you want to look at between lowering in price and getting good marketing, because that's what you want, somebody that can get you those showings without having to give away all your hard-earned equity and making the property super cheap. So that's today's secret that kind of tells you that's the most important number. That's what we share with everyone that makes a big, big difference when they're making a decision. And what we do with our clients, we just teach them, here's how you make good decisions. Here's how you ask the right questions, not the wrong questions, right? So closed sales for condos up 5.7%, which is super surprising. The condo market has faced a lot of headwinds overall right now. Average sale price for condos down 4.5% from the same time last year at $280,000. Median price down 2.3% at $237,000. Inventory, like I mentioned, is up 45%. It is a buyer's market, meaning the buyer has the advantage. It's 7.0 months of inventory. And so that means there's way more inventory than there is buyers. Guess what? Similar problem for showings per listing and also days on market. Days on market for condos right now, average days on market is 131 days. And what that means is that's the average amount of days it takes to go from listing to sold is 131 days, which is significant, right? You're talking 4 to 6 months to get a condo sold right now, if it does sell, which is only a 50-50 shot. And so that's something you want to keep in mind when you're picking an agent. You're not wasting months of time. You're not wasting money you're spending out. Those things matter in a big way. Same exact challenge there, except even worse. The average showing per listing for condo is 2.1. And this is the entire MLS. The company that gets this data for us, they're the ones that you have to go through to book a showing, no matter what company you use, because it's all through the MLS. And so 2.1 showings per listing on average. The problem is it takes an average amount of showings of 9.4 to go pending. And so you can see the problem there, right? You need almost a 5x increase in the amount of showings to get an offer than they're getting. And so that's why most of them are sitting there, and you really have a large chance of your property just sitting there if you don't have someone who can do the right marketing and get that exposure that you need. So look at MLS, look at the interest rates. They're pretty much flat. They're going to bump up this next week because of the inflation data that came out. But right now, as of this moment, a 30-year fix, 7.05% for a 30-year fix, a 15-year fix, 6.44%, a 30-year jumbo loan, 7.35%, a 30-year FHA loan, 6.4%, and a 30-year VA loan, 6.43%. There's a lot of good opportunities out there. If you think about buying with our lender, we have some great programs where you can actually do without tax returns. You can do some investment property stuff. And so if you want to know more about some financing stuff, reach out to me. We have an amazing lending team that we're partnered with that we can get you information and answer any questions that you may have. Just reach out, call us, 843-808-SOLD. We'll take a quick break, right back in a sec with a Hot Buyers Alert.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with two mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 five-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start hacking that Sloan Realty Group.
And tune into Blake's shows Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaBox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot Buyers Alert. My team and I work with a ridiculous amount of home buyers looking at our properties here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Trend area, even from $250,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, please contact us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. One thing we've been doing for years and years and years, I think we've been doing this show 15 years now. We started doing this probably 6 or 7 years ago, is putting my money where my mouth is. All these agents promise you all this stuff. And the problem is they don't start marketing for your property until they put a sign on the ground. So you're starting way behind, because what we do, we have this thing called buyers in waiting. And because our unique business model allows us to outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint, we're spending really 6 figures a month in all types of marketing for both buyers, sellers, everything, but driving traffic from all across the globe, both locally, but also internationally. And we have buyers that our team makes about 16,000 phone calls a week to our own buyers, to our own leads, and their job is to match up buyers and sellers. And so we're really good at it. But looking at the numbers right now, 79,318 active home buyers. Again, 79,318 active home buyers looking for property just like yours. So what does that matter to you? Because when you list it, we're going to match it up to one of our buyers in waiting first. Why is that? Well, because I'm in business to make money. So I want to match up one of our buyers first, because that's also what you hired us to do. And so that's what we want to do, versus just letting it sit in the MLS and sit there for 113 days or whatever it was. So right now on the site, I got Teresa from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I got Joseph from Charlotte, North Carolina. I got Lee from Woodburn, Massachusetts. I got Woodside, New York, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Old Town, Maine. I got Raleigh, North Carolina, Groveland, Massachusetts, Lexington, North Carolina, Clover, South Carolina. And these are people searching our site real time right now. Sarasota, Florida. I got Hamilton, Ontario, West End, Massachusetts, Carlsbad, California. And so these people are all searching our site where we spent massive amounts of money online. We have a technology that matches up buyers and sellers. So if you're thinking about selling, reach out, call us, 843-808-SOLD. That's something we like to show people, and it blows their mind. I met with an agent yesterday we interviewed who's been in the business since, like I said, before I was in the business, and he was blown away seeing it yesterday as well. And so that's something we have. Really quick, awesome success story. Just want to share another quick example for people out there. Danny, he owned a townhouse in Myrtle Beach. He'd been trying to sell it for over 6 months. He was listed with a different agent. He had no success getting it sold, just frustration. Thankfully, he started exploring other options to see about getting the property sold. Thankfully, Danny was recommended to Blake Sloan, us, by a friend of his. He decided to give them a call. We met with Danny, showed him we had hundreds and hundreds of buyers looking for properties just like his. I came in, designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual auto walkthrough, started driving massive traffic. Within 2 weeks, Danny had a fantastic offer on his property. Now he's able to move on and have to worry about taking care of property while he lives 500 plus miles away. Also, and this is a little bit farther out, but we do everywhere around here. Austin purchased a piece of property in Nichols last year. He initially intended to build his dream home on the property. There are certain things in life changed his plans. Now in the future, he's not going to build there anymore, right? He no longer had a need for the property, wanted to get it sold, but was worried about not being able to get his money back because he just bought it recently. Thankfully, heard about Blake Sloan's guaranteed sold system on the radio, decided to give us a call. We came in, shared him. We had hundreds and hundreds of buyers looking for properties just like his, which was acreage with no HOA. We came in, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, our drone photography and video, did a marketing blitz, all that stuff, drove massive traffic. In a couple weeks, had a fantastic offer on his acreage and had that sold, no longer making payments on that property, and he put maximum equity in his pocket. So if you want to be successful like that, reach out, call us, 843-808. So we got 1 minute left, 30 seconds. What we got? 1 minute. Awesome. Looking at the 3 biggest reasons sellers are making mistakes right now. It's so true. Number 1, they're pricing the home wrong. In some cases, it's too high. Some cases, too low. A large consulting company did a study on that, and it just talks about that's the number 1 problem 58% of home sellers have is pricing the home wrong, which is obviously why you need an expert agent. Number 2 is skipping repairs, and it says sellers who don't clean and stage the home flush a lot of money down the drain. We help make sure you get the absolute highest return on that. And 3, if you're refusing to negotiate, you want to make sure you have someone who can negotiate on your behalf to help you get the most amount of money possible. So if you have more questions, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. We'll see you back here next week. Yeah, I was going by the timer, but I forgot you had to go back and redo it.